So, hey, everybody, I'm here with John from 1905 New Media. Uh, I'm specifically fascinated to talk to you because have you seen the show Succession?
Yes.
Okay, because your story, and I want you to tell me more about your business. But it's a family run it's a fourth generation family run company. You are now at the helm of that. And so when I was reading through your story, and Ariel, my head of operations, was telling me about it, I was like, I wonder if it went down like him taking over the company, if it went down like Succession in the beginning, where it was like the dad, built this conglomerate, and then the son came in, and there's like all this friction and everything. So first, just start and tell me about 1905 New Media. But I am curious how you
Yeah.
came to be the leader of the company.
All right. So now, in its current state, 1905 New Media, we're an integrated marketing firm. Headquartered here in St. Louis, but with offices in Chicago as well. We as a company, I can give the whole story, but currently, we have very many areas that we work in, but we do commercial printing, website and app development, PR, social media, SEO, paid search, pretty much the entire gambit we do in-house. The only thing we don't do in-house is video production.
Okay, that's a lot of different things.
It's a lot of it. Yes.
But it started off as a traditional printing press, right?
It started off as a newspaper. If you go all the way back, 1905 was the year so 1905 New Media, the name came from the year we were founded. So the company was originally founded in 1905.
Wow.
We were originally founded as a newspaper out in St. Charles County, Missouri. It's a suburb of St. Louis. We were the Banner News. We were the local daily newspaper, and that was a huge part of what we are for a long time. We were the local daily newspaper. I think at its height, it was like 50,000 subscribers at its height, and the newspaper was great. In the 70s, early 70s, 1972, 3. The newspaper was sold off. So the newspaper was sold off to Sun Communications, Post-Dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but we retained ownership of the printing presses. They wanted the subscribers, not the printing operations. So we became at that time what they call printer's printer. So we printed everyone else's stuff. So we printed other newspapers. We printed other printers, items. And we realized we had all this capacity. And so grandfather took the business and turned it into a full-scale commercial printing. That was, and then, rebranded it as Thompson Printing. So Banner News to Thompson Printing. And then that was what we were. We were a local commercial printing company in St. Louis. We were that for a very, very long time, up until, long time. Then fast forward until me. So my background is actually in web and software development. So when I moved back to take over the family business, I realized that we had all these printing clients. We had thousands of printing clients. And what I started doing is I started selling them websites.
Right.
Kind of crazy. It was me and one other developer. Didn't know what we were doing, but it worked a little bit too well because we had established all these relationships with these clients. So they trusted us. So we realized as it started exploding and we started taking on more and larger projects is that we needed processes. We had zero processes. We were literally winging it. I mean, me and a developer, I was designing them, halfway coding them. He would code out the stuff that was a little too complicated for me. So that kicked off a series of acquisitions because we realized in the printing world where I grew up, there's a concept of controlling the deliverable. So in printing, there's a lot of aspects to printing, right? You sometimes need dyes. Sometimes you need to put a varnish on a job. There's a lot of things that can be done in printing. And what was always instilled by my father is control the deliverable. So when you control the deliverable, you don't have an outside vendor, right? You do it yourself because if the vendor messes up, you can't go to the client and say your vendor messes up. You hired me, I messed up. So with that controlling the process, I realized we could build those processes or we can acquire those processes and then just make them our own. So that kicked off a series of acquisitions where clients started asking for more services and we went out and we bought those services. So, we need better processes for the web team. We went out and bought a local web development shop. Clients started asking for SEO and page search. We went out and bought an SEO company, PR. It went on and on. We've done 7 acquisitions to date.
Okay.
And what makes our company unique is that when we went out and we bought those companies, we didn't go out and say, all right, we're going to buy you and you follow us and we just want your book of business. It was the opposite. The book of business, the revenue that came with it was kind of like icing on the cake. What I wanted
Sure.
was the processes and the team. So our leadership team at 1905 is made up of all these former entrepreneurs of businesses that I've acquired. So our leadership team is probably one of our greatest assets because there's so much, industry experience and intelligence in the room. The only problem is you have a leadership team full of type A personalities, and sometimes everybody has their idea as the best idea, and nothing ever gets done. But it has made it so that when we go to market and we talk to clients, I mean, we are truly, I know every single person says they're one-stop shop, but I truly don't know another agency or printing company, vice versa, that has all of our capabilities and can do them all in-house. And then
Right.
cross-market, like that. We are truly unique in that regard.
Interesting. Yeah, that actually, this reminded me of a story from 10 years ago when I first started out in business. I started a blog, millennialmoneyman.com, and that was like my first thing that I really started making money with online, and I quit my teaching job to do that and all that. But I started a small digital marketing agency because I was broke and blogs didn't make money very quickly back then. So
it doesn't do it that way. Let's try digital.
Yeah. So I was working with a jeweler, the guy that did my wife's engagement ring. And one day he asked me, he was like, "Hey, we want to do a magazine, a full page magazine ad in a first class." It was like a first class section for United or something like that. It was just, he wanted to do that. I had no experience with it. So I had to very quickly like go and talk to a bunch of people in my area that could maybe do it. And we put together this ad for Patek Philippe watches, and it got printed and all that stuff. And then when they saw the magazine, it was the Patek Philippe was spelled incorrectly. So it was like, and I'm sure what they did was like farm it out to somebody else really quickly or something. So I think it's great that you have that in house. I do want to I want to get way into the acquisition stuff because I'm in the middle of completing our first acquisition. And I hope that this episode goes live after July 1st, because that's the acquisition date. But there was something, yeah. So there was something that you said, when I was kind of just researching and something I thought was very fascinating. You said that you knew that you wanted to run this business since you were 4 years old. And right before this, I put my 4-year-old son down for a nap, and he picked a booger so hard that he got a nosebleed. And so when I saw that you were 4 and you wanted to do this, how did you know when you were 4 years old that you wanted to run this company?
My earliest memory, literally earliest memory, was going. So we were a family business, and at the time, the printing division was it was a small family printing company, and we grew up at the office. I mean, I was a kid who had an unlimited supply of paper, tape, cardboard, scissors, industrial paper cutters. Like the office, going to the print facility with my father was like the greatest thing in the world. And I grew up in this mindset of, if I wanted to see my father, I went to work with him. Mm-hmm. And I spent some of my fondest memories of my life are in this building things and doing these things. And when I look back, when I say like my fondest memory is going to the office with my father. And that's where I was raised. I was raised in this office because it was a family business. So I watched my father lead it. Watched him grow this business, and saw daily, because I was always there with him, how much work and time went into it. And so there was never any doubt what I wanted to do with my life. So everything I've done in my life has been geared towards running this company.
So when it came time for you to run the company, was it just kind of an understood thing from everybody that you were going to take the mantle and run with it?
Not necessarily. So in our family, I think one of the reasons why the company survived 120 years, literally, was that, it's passed from father to son during that time. And it wasn't a given that I would get the company.
Okay.
Like, a lot of generational businesses, the moment they're out of college, they're into the business, or out of school, they go immediately into the business and they're in charge, and, they know nothing. So what we've done literally every single generation is that I needed to go away after college. Dad was like, go somewhere else. Like, just like his dad did to him, get out of St. Louis, go work for someone else, move away, have that experience, and have a set, like a long time frame. And then when the time is right, there would be an offer. There would be okay, it's time to come home if you want this. and to start learn and to take it. If not, I didn't have to take it. My father would have continued running it, probably sold it or at that
Yeah.
time. But having that experience and going away and working for someone else and cutting my teeth and doing that is one of the reasons. And my father did the same thing. He moved to California for a long time, rehabbed houses, was a college professor. Like, it was such weird. My father
Wow.
was. His grandfather before them went to World War II, so that counts. You had that experience going away and doing something else and working for someone else and learning
Right.
is from the ground up.
Yeah. And then you were able to take that and basically come back in and revolutionize the company and modernize it, right? Which is cool.
I was very fortunate that the job I took, I moved to Chicago out of the blue, and I got very lucky that I got a job working for a gentleman who had same thing, had a generational company. And I don't know why he took a liking to me, but he did. And he always knew one day I would leave and I would go do this. And so he helped me connect me with people that no 22-year-old should ever be connected with. And he brought me in on things that no 22-year-old should ever be brought in on. And so I watched him run his business. And he did the same thing. It was actually a electrical contractor, large electrical contractor. But then he started doing the same thing with his business, diversifying it, right? He bought a technology company. He bought a low voltage. He bought a building management company. All these things that kind of fed together and continued growing the business from there. So when I left, I came home with this model of potentially taking the print shop and then expanding it into many more. Plus, I came back with a very large book. I came back with contacts that I was able to then nurture and sell to and help grow the business.
So I want to switch back to the acquisitions really quick because like I said before, we're just finishing July 1st. We're finalizing an acquisition. I want to say it's a done deal, but I'm going to knock on wood. You never know. But it's been an interesting process. I had absolutely no experience acquiring a company before. This was a very friendly deal, but it's very similar to what you were talking about. So it was actually good to hear you talk about this because we're acquiring it's an accounting firm. We're acquiring an accounting firm. It kind of fits in with some of the courses and programs that we already sell here. We do bookkeeping and we teach people how to start businesses, but one of the is like the revenue that comes in from it is great. It's awesome. But the thing that's been the most helpful is that the former CEO is coming on and now she's our head of sales.
Right.
We've got the founder of the company is coming in as a consultant. Like I'm getting all kind of like a board of advisors almost that they're coming into my company.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a very eye-opening process trying to figure out the acquisition stuff, just going through the numbers and doing all the due diligence, all of that. When you went into your first one, was it difficult? Was it a pretty easy deal? Was it hard? Like, did you have any roadblocks?
The first one was lack of a better term, sweet deal.
Okay.
The first one, me and another gentleman are in a program called EO, Entrepreneurs Organizations, St. Louis. We were both in it, and he was actually in my form. And his business, we like broke EO. Like EO rules is you don't do business together. Totally broken by the way. Did not broken the rules more. But his business is struggling. And he's like, what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs? They have this great idea and they are really passionate about what they do. They're passionate about the work, but the aspect of running a business, like bookkeeping, payroll, the things, the hard part, they hate doing, or they don't have a passion, right? They don't have a passion for it. They don't know how to do it. And he was the same way. He had grown this business to a point and they were starting to fracture. And he's like, man, I just don't want to do this anymore. But he wanted to continue to build great websites and great applications. And at the time we had too much work and couldn't deliver those. And I'm like, hey man, tell you what, why don't you let me acquire you? You come in and you run my entire dev team. You run the dev team. You take over this process. His name is Breeden Jones, and it was the model for all the. It worked unbelievably perfectly. It came in. Everything was fantastic. Breeden was literally my right hand for 6 years. Unfortunately, he had a very rare form of pancreatic cancer and passed away. But he was there with me through every single step up until 2 years. He passed away 2 years ago. He had helped and there, we had this model and we mapped out. It's still very fun that we still talk about our company. We did that deal and we're like, man, that deal was so great. So we got together in a conference room down at CIC when we were still at that space.
Mhm.
And we literally mapped this out on a whiteboard and like, okay, next we want an SEO company. Next, then we want a branding company. And we literally mapped this out. And we had these crazy ideas, right? Crazy ambitious. We're going to have 50 people by this amount of time, this much of revenue. And I still think back to that moment going, man, everything we mapped out literally happened exactly how we mapped it out. We hit every one of our goals.
Wow.
We did every one of our acquisitions exactly how we mapped it. And to think back going, good God, talk about luck.
Yeah, that's crazy because I don't feel like anything ever goes the way that I've thought it was going to go in
I still
business.
cannot. Since that point, nothing has gone as planned. But
Okay.
at that point, it's like, God, how did that happen?
Okay. I was like, man, I'm talking to the Oracle here.
No. Everything since that moment, no. That once we got to everything we planned, and then we hit that mic. Okay, what's next? Yeah, nothing has gone right.
Nothing.
Nothing
Yeah.
has
Okay.
gone planned. Yeah.
Okay. Good. That's good to know because there's a lot of days where I'm like we just had this major we do a lot of affiliate marketing too, and we just had this we renegotiated a deal with an affiliate program that we work with, and it was like, this is great, like this is a great deal for us moving into the future. And then literally 3 days later we're looking through our Google ad data and the tracking's busted, everything's broken, and it's just like, I feel like that's mostly what business has been for at least the last year and a half for me, where it's just like, we make great progress, but something's always messed up. So I'm
Always.
sure for you, it's the
There's
same
always a
thing.
problem to fix. There's always like, hey, every single time I feel like, man, things are going really great. Everything's lining up. Everything's kicking on all cylinders. And I'm like, I'd enjoy today because tomorrow there's going to be a crisis you have to deal with, and you're going to
Oh,
have the worst day ever.
that is a good point because I have learned that like when things are really good, these days I try to just like
Enjoy the good days.
appreciate it. I'm just like, wow, this is great. Because there's been times in the business where I've been talking to the leadership team or something. I'm like, man, we can't lose. This is freaking awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
then they're always like, ooh, don't say that.
Yeah,
Because
you're
of
jinxing it.
course.
You're putting that out there in the world always. And then literally in business, I've learned you either have, it's like real highs and real lows.
Yes.
To be the best day ever, and then tomorrow it's the worst thing ever. You're never going to survive. Then
Yeah.
the next day it's the greatest day ever. And for my leadership team, it is so freaking exhausting. I really don't understand how people put up with me. And
I don't either.
yeah,
Yeah, that's funny. So going back to the acquisitions, so you did the first one. You've done 6 more since then.
yes.
Is that right? Yeah. So
That's
have
right.
they? And you said that did they all go pretty smoothly? I mean, and also I'm curious where you figured out the need. You're like, okay, we want to provide this service or we need this infrastructure. How did you find these businesses? What was that kind of, I don't know, courting process like?
So we've gotten really good at it through time. We have a very distinct model that has worked, and so you asked, have they all been good? One did not go well at all, and
Okay.
it's because we deviated from our model. Like most of our models have been, when we go out, I usually source them.
Mhm.
So I will source them. I will reach out and say, hey, this is just a conversation. I want to see if there's interest. We've had a lot of conversations. The last one we did, we had like 15, 20 conversations with people until
Okay.
we found the right fit. And most of them start off with, look, this is what we truly want. We don't want you to just sell us your business and then you to go away.
Mhm.
If you don't come with the deal for a specific time frame, this deal won't work. It
Right.
won't happen because you manage the relationships, you have the processes. It takes time to transfer those things over into fully integrated team. And so every one of our deals, there's been a agreement where you kind of have to stay. Like we
Mhm.
do the asset purchase agreement, and then we do employment. Like they're two completely separate entities, and they got to agree to both. Um, what the bad deal was the polar opposite. Someone approached us and asked to be acquired, and we had 30 days to do due diligence.
Oh wow.
This person was staying on for 2 months and then they're off. It was a really good financial deal, and it seemed too good to be true, and it 1,000% was. And
Mm.
everything about that deal we salvaged it. It turned out good in the end. We learned from a knowledge standpoint, we learned exactly not what to do. And we
Right.
have held crew since that moment on how to do these deals. So yeah, 6 out of 7
That's pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
I mean,
Well, I'll
that's
take
pretty
those
good
odds.
odds.
It's not bad odds.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So how do you handle absorbing? I'm guessing do you keep the majority of the employees that are
Mhm,
already there and you kind of
mhm.
just meld them into your business? How do you handle the culture aspect of that, just kind of merging them into your own culture?
It does take time. I mean, what one of the things that we've done with our acquisitions is usually we let we try to find those agencies that only do one or two things, right? They either only do SEO, they only do PR, they just do one or two things, and we say come in. Like usually we have one or two people in that area. We're like, come in, you're in charge. This is your division. This is your team. Inherit our team. We're going to move the people that are doing PR under you, and you're now going to be in charge of our team, but you're in charge. Like this
Right.
is your processes. You have a seat at the table. You get to dictate how we do things and how those things are delivered. Um, and all deals take time to integrate. They 100%. I mean, our last one was done September of
Okay.
last year. It's our Chicago office. We're still integrating it. Things are getting smoother and better, and every day it gets a little bit better. The teams are mixing. That was a bigger deal in terms of people because it was a branding agency, and we had multiple people in house that was doing design and branding, but we needed to
Okay.
level up our game. So they took on our entire staff, and they had their own entire staff. So that one's
Wow.
gotten a little bit right, a little bit more it took a little bit longer to integrate. We're still doing it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
there's and that's when I like mentioned we had 15, 20 phone calls. Like culture is really, really important here. So we've passed on quite a few that just were not culture fits, right? We're like, nope. Like I know this may be a really good fit financially, this may be a really good fit for what we need, but culture's not there.
So what are you looking for specifically with culture?
People who under see what we're doing, they see what we're doing, they see our business model, they understand what we're doing. We're building a generational company, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we want to hand this off to the fifth generation. We want to become a place. I say this all the time and I joke about it, but I know this is not possible. It's like when people come to work for 1905, I would like this to be their last job. Not
Wow.
possible, I know,
Yeah.
but it needs to be an inclusive place where they feel safe, where they feel heard, where they can feel like they're a part of something and help continue to grow it and help continue to grow the family, the family business, and really have the same values that we as a company have. And not everyone does.
Right.
And we have passed on some pretty good deals that were bad culture fits.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm guessing you've done all these acquisitions and then the AI stuff came about. How did that change? I mean, because honestly, that impacted our company in a lot of bad ways and great ways. Like it's been a very mixed bag of how it's actually impacted us, but it certainly has changed a lot of things very quickly. And so I'm curious with a company your size and all these different moving parts when basically ChatGPT started working, a couple of years ago. Like, how did that impact what you're doing specifically? Because I know it's very entrenched in the marketing world and everything that you touch, probably.
Yeah, I mean, this company has survived 120 years because we always seem to be somehow. I mean, I don't know if it's pure luck or it is definitely not insight or being smarter than anybody else. It's pretty much luck.
Yeah.
We always seem to be a little bit ahead with what we do in our next evolution. Like we in the 70s when we sold off the newspaper industry was booming. Why would you sell off
Right.
a newspaper? When we went to commercial printing, we were the first printing company west of the Mississippi to purchase a web offset press.
Wow.
In the early 2000s, we were one of the first printing companies to pivot to digital printing. I mean, when I moved back in 2011, took over the business, started changing the coming, every other printing company around was like, what are you doing? Why are you not doubling down? I mean,
Right.
yeah. And now we, as a company, we're looking at AI as the next future. We are internally building a custom built um, AI platform called Kirk. And we just look at it as our next evolution for our clients so that we can do better work. And I don't know where we're going to be in 5 to 10 years. I mean, the company can completely pivot again. The thing is, the company has done it now so many
Right.
times. And we're able to kind of recognize when things are the future. Well, again, pure luck. When things are the future and when they aren't the future. I mean, the marketing industry as a whole it's in decline, right? I mean,
Right.
agencies in the country are struggling. I mean, all these agencies exploded post COVID, right?
Sure.
2001, 2002, 2003, the world went online. And so agencies exploded. And then AI comes around and agencies have been, they grew too quick, right?
Right.
The thing that 1905 can bring to the table is that we also have this very large commercial printing component. Commercial printing is booming right now. I mean, I have never
Really?
seen it. I've never seen it boom like it is right now. The print side of our business grew 141% last year. I still don't 100% know. I feel like I'm an expert in it. I should be an expert in it, but I have no clue why. The only thing, like what I keep going back to, is that we're in a printing is a very in-person thing. It's a very tactile thing. Like you
Right.
need brochures or trade show, direct mail. You're handing people stuff, and we're entering a world where everybody was COVID locked down, and now they're
Mm-hmm.
not. Trade shows are booming, right? I mean, like that's where people, all these things, and so having a element to hand, not to mention, because we have this commercial printing side of our business and the digital marketing side, we're able to leverage both. We're able to take people's direct mail pieces, track them, retarget email campaigns, paid search, all these things that just other companies just can't do because they don't control the entire
Right.
delivery.
Wow. So do you think, I mean, that is fascinating that the print side of the business is, I would not have guessed that, but I've always, I
It's
mean, as all of this AI stuff, because like I spend so much, I'm sure you do too. I spend a lot of my time just trying to figure out like, what is AI going to impact?
Oh yeah.
Like how much of it is hype? How much it like when they say all the jobs are going to be gone, or it's like how much of it is these massive companies going out and trying to get investment into their companies. And so they're painting this huge picture of what's going to happen, or do they know some stuff we just don't know yet? But I would imagine that the tactile things like what you're saying are going to become increasingly important. I think community probably is going to become increasingly important. But is that something that you're seeing? Like, are your existing customers outside of that, like maybe your SEO clients or whatever, like you've got this whole other section of the business, are they asking for AI or are they saying, hey, we'd like to get into more physical products? Like what's the reaction from the customers?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, like, we have for example, we have a chain of urgent cares in Southern Alabama that we do SEO and paid search for.
Yeah.
And they've never done direct mail before. And now they're expanding into direct mail. Like they ask, like, hey, let's try this.
Mhm.
It's part of our marketing mix that we can try all these things and see what works. I think, with the AI element of it, we look at our new AI platform as a next evolution and a way that we can continually deliver for our clients. Our new platform, Kirk, allows us to take in all of our client data. So for all these different sources, Google Analytics, social, even TV ratings, bring it all together into this platform, and then
Mm.
using AI, being able to analyze that data in real time, and not just like me looking at the data going, oh, I think it's this. Being able to use AI to go look at that data to kind of make predictions on how that content should be written. So, and then be able to allow us to pivot more quickly. So in the old days, like a year ago,
Right.
you would write a Google ad and you toss it up for a couple of weeks and see what the outcome was. And you'd
Right.
have to analyze it. And 2 weeks later, you change it. We don't have to wait those 2 weeks anymore. We can toss up an ad and get real-time data immediately, and then pivot that. Our strategists can then pivot that ad right away. Like we'll
Okay.
know within a couple of days if this ad is working or not, and being able to quickly pivots by using this new platform that we're building. It makes our, it's an extension of our strategists. See, if we have all these strategists that have 15, 20 years marketing experience, they have the background, and then they take that data with our clients, and then they're able to make intelligent decisions based on what the data and AI is telling them, and quickly pivot.
Interesting. So, are there any optimizations that you're trying to make throughout your actual company with AI? Are you trying to implement it to create more efficiency or anything like that? Or is it just on the customer side?
No, I mean, we have an entire AI team internally.
Really?
The entire people's jobs are AI. We have workflows, obviously, like we have all of our workflows, starting to automate them one by one. We're even automating workflows for clients. Like a lot of our clients are like, oh, you can do this, do all this. It is really, it's made we're able to we're able to keep our head count where we want it to be, but continue to grow the revenue and be able to do more
Right.
with less people.
That's my goal. Like with this accounting firm that we've acquired, it's like, I mean, we want to add a lot of clients, but I mean, accountants can only handle so many clients. And
Right.
so the goal that we're trying to figure out is like, how can we increase efficiencies to where an accountant can handle 100 clients by themselves instead of far less
Mhm.
than that? And so I don't know how we're going to figure that out yet. So, but that's kind of the goal. I mean, how did you start with this AI task force or team inside of the company? Was it something that started small and you grew it larger, or was it like, we got to
It's
do this now?
It was another one of my crazy ideas after a conversation with Keisha Hannock, one of our director of digital search, and looking at these things. I mean, I always have freaking ideas. Usually I get bored of the ideas and I move on to the
Yeah.
next idea while the team is still working on the idea that I had.
Right.
Um, Drives them nuts. Um, but it kind of evolved from conversations and realizing we had all these tools that other people didn't have. It actually, to be honest with you, it evolved from one of our clients. We have a very
Really?
large client here in St. Louis that we do a lot of direct mail from. And they started asking the question, can you track direct mail? Can you tell us the moment a direct mail piece hits someone's mailbox? Because with postage and all that, you mail a letter, you have no clue when
Right.
it's normally going to arrive, right? And we were like, all right, well, I don't know, let's figure it out. So we figured it out. We found a way through UTMs to be able to track a direct mail piece and know the moment it hits within a couple hours, the moment it is in your mailbox. And then we use that to then retarget. So that direct mail piece then hit your mailbox and they're like, okay, we know that's in there. So now tomorrow morning, you're going to get an email from this client and you're going to start seeing ads. And if you engage in this direct mail piece in any way, we're going to then hit you again with another direct mail piece. And then we started doing all these things and realized, oh my God, this is so complicated to track. And we're like, wouldn't it be a great way if we can put all this data together in one thing and being able to track it and do it automatically for us? And we're
Right.
like, oh, hey, here's an idea. Let's build a platform.
Yeah, I mean, God, that's the dream, really. Because I've always wondered about that. I have friends that, I have a lot of online marketer friends, and they always talk about direct mail, but it's always that scary feeling of like, well, we're going to spend all this money on this, and we have no idea if it's going to actually work out. So that's amazing that you're able to figure out when it hits the mailbox. And how do you can you say how you do that?
There is a additional tracking code that goes on the end that allows us to, so when the post office scans, so post office is digital. So when they scan the process, kind of like UPS, when you know something's out for delivery and stuff like that. Now that the post office scans, everybody thinks this post office is an antiquated thing. In some ways it is. And in others it's not. We now know, okay, that postal carrier is out on his route because he just scanned it. So each route is a segment, right?
Yeah.
There's segments of routes. So we know, okay, well, it's going to be in the mailbox for the next hour or two.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that was possible, but that's
Mm-hmm.
freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you've talked a couple of times about like, I come up with all these ideas. It drives the team nuts. Um, what does your day-to-day look like these days? I mean, are you just coming up with ideas and they just do it, or are you doing, a lot of sales? I mean, obviously you're doing this podcast, so you're getting out there, but what does your day-to-day look like?
It's not as bad. Like it used to be where I would do everything and do the work. It is, as the company has grown, I have a really strong leadership team. I have a really strong right hand. Her name's Lindy Schaefer. She really is that person. She's the polar opposite of me. Thank God.
That's good.
Well, kind of in that. I mean, she has the same, we're both emotional people. She's emotional, but she's more pragmatic in what we're doing. And she's usually like, well, John, that's a really good idea. Let's try that in a month.
Right.
It
Yeah.
really annoys me sometimes. She
Oh, it
knows it.
drives me nuts too.
Oh, it
That happens
drives
to me
me.
all the time in my company.
You're like, what now? You're not getting this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she really oversees a lot of the day to day, not to mention we have a really, really strong leadership team that runs their own divisions and own team, and they all come together and work together. I get to do the fun stuff. I get to think big picture. I get to go out and network and meet people and talk to people. I'm a relationships guy. I love building relationships. I love doing things in person. If I'm out doing things, I'm happy. I'm an EO. I sit on like 3 different boards, way too many boards. I get to do those things and develop those relationships. So because I'm out there doing those things, it also helps sales, right? I mean, organically,
Sure.
our sales are through the acquisitions, but also organically through those connections, our sales have greatly increased. I mean, we were on the Inc. 5000 list last year.
Saw that. Congrats. Very impressive.
Thank you. I mean, we the regional one just came out, and like I still don't understand. I mean, this is according to Inc., but we were the fastest growing privately held company in St. Louis, and
Wow.
still, like, are we the only one that applied for it? I mean, like, was there nobody else on the list this year?
Hey, that's okay. Even if there
Yeah,
weren't, that's okay.
our growth has been fantastic, and we're bucking the trend, right? The most industries, most agencies aren't growing, or they're growing slowing, or they're slowly laying people off and stuff like that. So it is great being the opposite, but also realizing we could be that. So we have to constantly innovate and do the next thing to keep us ahead.
So for your operational structure to kind of give you the freedom that you have to go out and come up with ideas and somebody else basically implement it, was that something that grew organically? Did you adopt a system of some sort? How did that happen?
Hey, Ariel here from Stellar Brands. And for the rest of this episode, along with more fresh content that we are putting out through Stellar Brands, you can check out our brand new Stellar Brands YouTube channel. The link is in the description for the show. Give us a follow, like our videos, subscribe. We'd love it. And please check out the rest of this video there. Thanks.